Hello and welcome back. For those of you that are new, thank you for tuning in. My name is Michael. I have buried somebody in my mom's backyard in Wellsville, Ohio. I have hung out with serial killers and lived, and Charles Manson was my friend. Want to know more about that stuff? Hang around. I'll tell you all about it. Welcome back, and thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it so much. And really, it doesn't matter anyway. If you do, you do. If you don't, you don't. You know? Because I'm really, honestly, not trying to get views. If I was, I would probably make better titles. The titles have a bit of meaning to them, though. You ought to go back and look at the titles. The titles, they have meaning to them. But if I was trying to get views, I would probably change the titles. So it's not really about that. It's about people who really want to watch. So again, thank you so much for putting the effort into watching this stuff. If you noticed, I've never even shown how many subscribers I had, because basically it's you. It's one subscriber. You. I'm talking to you. You don't have to look at any kind of advertising before it. You don't have to look at any kind of advertising in between. You know, it just don't stop all of a sudden and here pops up an ad for toilet paper. No, that won't happen here. I'm just here to talk. Me and you. You know, if you care to listen, okay, fine. I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. I'm just showing you like a show and tell, like at school, you know? They say, hey, bring something that's interesting. Well, I'm here with something interesting. And I come across some stuff that basically I was talking about. We've been talking about a lot of things now. Last thing we was just talking about is how the Secret Service thought that I was some kind of threat to the President of the United States because I was writing letters to Charles Manson. It's amazing on the things that people will think just because you want to write a letter to Charles Manson. As a matter of fact, at one time, I was in the newspaper. It's on the web. It was on the web too. I woke up and all of a sudden from the sheriff's office there was a notice. Yeah, this came from my hometown. Back in Wellsville, Ohio. I didn't even live in Wellsville, Ohio in 2015. I had moved out of Wellsville, Ohio in 1986. Right after Halloween, I moved out of Wellsville, Ohio. But in 2015, a Wellsville woman reported at 9:42 p.m. Monday, a deputy should check a resident of 18th Street Heights. That's where I used to live in Wellsville. I used to live on a place called 18th Street Heights. So I kind of haunt that place now because I guess I'm in people's minds there and they think about me. Okay. The deputy should check on a resident of 18th Street Heights. Since she had posted on her Facebook page she needed help, a deputy found the woman was extremely intoxicated and said her phone had been hacked into and her house been entered. She went on to say that Charles Manson was trying to get her and told the deputy to check out a webpage called Michael's Backdoor Tapes. Yeah, a woman in Wellsville is accusing me of breaking in her house. I live here in California now. All because of Charles Manson. This is the kind of stuff that comes up. And it was posted in April the 8th, 2015 from the Sheriff's Department here. And it was breaking news. And everybody told me about it. I mean, I woke up and I'm like, uh-huh. But that's the kind of stuff this is the weird kind of stuff that happens. And, well, at least to me anyway. I don't know, maybe it doesn't happen to everybody. But again, I've got a little bit of things we were talking about. I found some stuff you know, that can go along and collaborate with the things that I've said along the way. You know, at one point I was saying I wrote for an autograph magazine. Well, I found some of them articles. Or I wrote to presidents. Well, I wrote an article about where I wrote to presidents, so I'll show you that. Where I collected horror things ever since way back. I've got an article on that too. I got articles on all these things. I've got pretty much proof on just about everything. I like proof. I like collecting. I like keeping things. I like to be able to tell a story with props rather than just give my opinion of something like, I don't like you. You're a dirty scumbag. You know, haters. When it comes to haters, really on the internet, you know, there's three reasons probably why they hate you in the first place. One of the reasons is they're jealous of you. They're just extremely jealous of you. So they'll do anything to try to destroy you. The second reason they probably hate you on the internet is because they hate themselves. If you can't stand yourself, you're not going to like anybody else. And if you don't like yourself, you're going to tell everybody else how miserable your life is. And the third reason that they probably don't like you, and they're talking a bunch of crap about you on the internet anyway, is they wish they were you. You know, that's about the only three reasons that people hate you. Because otherwise, what's the use? You know, so anyway, let's get to this stuff. I know you're wondering already. In the title on the picture, it says, I buried a person in my backyard. I was friends with serial killers, and Charles Manson was my pen pal. Yeah, all those things are true, and I'm going to show them to you here. And we've already went over all this stuff anyway. You know, I've told you from the very start that I collected horror things. That's what got me interested in Charles Manson. And this is an article from way back. It was 1 month before I left Ohio. And it shows me right here. It features a grave at Michael Channels' house where he buries a live body of Mackie Crisco. Right there in my backyard, burying a guy right in my backyard. From the Morning Journal, back in 1986. So I did bury a guy. I was interested in horror before I ever, you know, got sparked into Charles Manson. I was telling you I was writing for an autograph magazine, and it was called the Autograph Times. And this is the Autograph Times right here. And this is an article that I wrote. I wrote this one about the presidents of the United States. And there's Ronald Reagan's signature up here, which I eventually cut this piece out. And I sold the rest of the signatures. But I cut this little signature out, and I'm going to show it to you here in a minute because I still have it. I actually glued it on to one of Manson's signatures. Because remember I was telling you about the Secret Service. They came to my house, and now it's 1999, and they're like, okay, we're done with you. So I decided to write Manson and tell him, hey man, the Secret Service, they was asking me about you, and he wrote me back, and I don't know if you can actually see it on the camera, but this is embossed. It's embossed with the eagle on it. You can see it on the other side too, but it's embossed, and it's from the office of Ronald Reagan. And Charles Manson responds. I covered up that was my address right there. That's a Woodstock stamp, and it was dated on November the 12th, 1999. And that's Manson's signature, so he sent it through the mail like this, and I just took off the signature that was on here, cut it out of that, from that newspaper, and put it onto here. So now it has Ronald Reagan's and Nancy Reagan's signature on there, to Michael Channels, from Ronald Reagan and Nancy Reagan, and Charles Manson actually. Here's what Manson wrote, and this is on, again, the postcard from Office of Ronald Reagan. Thank you for your interest which led you to write to the President Reagan. Unfortunately, it must be disappointing response to get this request. Reagan receives a large volume of similar appeals. Surely you will understand that in all fairness we must take care not to single out any individual request for special attention. However, the President would like to convey his appreciation for thinking of him and wishing you every success in your endeavors. Charles Manson wrote Ronald Reagan when Ronald Reagan was the President of the United States, and he wrote him about drugs. We'll get into that later. But he wrote him on the war on drugs, the DARE program, and Ronald Reagan obviously got it. Anyway, here's what Manson writes. Crime, crime, oh how they love crime. They love jobs and paydays and TV cop shows. And someone must be a crook when asked, should Manson get rights? It was said, Reagan said, everyone but Manson. Happy landing, U.S. of no rights. Africa is coming up in your hole. And on this side he writes, they took 3 photos, jealous little minds at work for your tax dollars, working in crime factory, making more crime for you to see on TV. And again, it's signed by Reagan, Manson, Nancy Reagan, with a Woodstock stamp, one day after Manson's birthday, or on Manson's birthday, depending on what day you think it's on, because this was on the 12th of November in 1999. Last century, way long ago, on Reagan. All these people are now all dead, every single one of them. But I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty weird at the time, though. He wrote me, like, oh, God, man, Secret Service just came. Now you're saying Africa's coming up in your hole. They'll take that wrong for some reason. Anyway, we'll move on. Again, back to writing for this autographed Times magazine. I'll show you a little bit more what it looked like. This is what the cover looked like. This was from 1988. I was still actually writing it in 88. And here's an article that I wrote, see, by Michael Channels. So, and this one was about worthless autographs and how an autograph can go from a lot of money to no money at all. And this was all about OJ, because I was collecting OJ Simpson autographs, and there's one from Cato Kalin, Mark Furman, Marcia Clark, OJ Simpson. That was Willie Williams of the LAPD, Carl Douglas, Lance Ito, Ron's family, Fred. I had the whole Manson family, the whole OJ family, everything. I've been into autographs for a long time. And again, autographs for a long time. This is the front page of the Daily News here in Los Angeles, the Santa Clarita edition. Autograph hunter finds meaning in signatures. And it also goes on to the inside, showing about more of me on the inside of here. So I've been an autograph collector. I've been into horror all my life. So much so that the newspaper would come to my house and do articles about it. And I also mentioned back there in that Secret Service thing, when we were talking about the Secret Service, how I wrote other people, and so I wrote, and also the title says serial killers in it, so I wanted to really show you that at one point, yeah, I knew serial killers too. This is Dorothea Puente. She was a grandma serial killer who eventually buried some dudes in her roses outside. She would feed them, they would die, and they would end up buried in her roses. You ought to read about her. I knew her quite well. We even talked about Manson. So there are a few things to show you that I have buried a guy in my yard. I have sat with serial killers and not got poisoned and not died and not ended up buried in the roses. And I have been pen pals with Charles Manson and an autograph collector and all this stuff. So now you know a little bit more of me, I guess. It seems like when you know Charles Manson, everybody in the world knows it. It's like everybody seems to know it. And all kinds of people come out of the woodwork. And the next time I got a story about how somebody contacts me and they told me that Charlie told him to contact me. And takes me into a story that, oh my, it's going to take a long time to tell. So, thanks again so much for watching. Really, it means a lot. And like I said, I've never really showed the subscribers on how many subscribers I have, because you're really the only one. That's all I care about. I read all the comments. Thanks for that too. I appreciate that. You're so kind in all of them. You know, sometimes I don't have time to answer them, but thanks so much. I mean, I've read every single one of them. And when I see a new one pop up on the new video, I read it too. I might not be able to get to it, but again, thanks a lot for your kindness. It really means a lot. It does a lot for people's day when you're kind rather than, you know, mean to somebody. You know, when you're mean to somebody, that lasts a lot longer than the kindness does too, if you ever noticed. If somebody's mean to you, it can last for a few days. If somebody's kind to you, it makes you feel good for, you know, a few minutes. So until the next time, when I tell you that story about the person that just contacted me out of the blue and said, hey, Charlie said you'd be interested in this. We'll see you then. Until then, peace.